we are doing end of module 3 math review for your test. And let's start with the first question. So it talks about Meghana, who bought 4 3/4 kilograms of plant food. She used 1 1/3, this is 1 1/3, not 11/3, on her onion plants and 3/4 on her pepper plants. And we want to know, or we need to find out, how many kilograms of plant food she has left. So she starts with 4 3/4 kilograms. Now, she is using 1 1/3 and then another 3/4. So the best thing for us to do right now is to figure out how much plant food she's going to be using all together. And then we can subtract that from our original amount. So the way you would write that would be the 1 1/3 plus 3/4 first. And then we will find a common denominator. And actually we can find that common denominator across the board here, which would be 12, right? You've got 3 and 4, so you've got 12. So for that, in order to get from a denominator of 4 to 12, you're going to multiply by 3/3. Sorry, that's so small. Here, you're going to multiply by 4/4 so that you get a denominator of 12. And then here, from 4 to 12, you would do times 3. Okay, so then we'll go ahead and do all of that. So the whole numbers you don't multiply, okay? Well, if you're multiplying it by 3/3, that's basically 1. So don't worry about that. Just bring the whole number down. And then you're going to multiply 3 times 3, 4 times 3. So you have 4 9/12. And then you have 1 4/12 plus 9/12. We'll bring that 4 9/12 down, and then we'll solve this part. Okay, so this is 1 13/12. We'll bring it down again so that we can rewrite it and convert this. So we're subtracting 2. And now we know that 12 goes into 13 one time, and then there will be 1 left over. Okay, so 12 goes into 13 one time. That's why I've added another 1 here. And then what we have left is 1/12. Okay, so now we can subtract. And I'm just going to draw an arrow and continue up over here. But now we can subtract the whole numbers. So 4 minus 2 is 2. And then we can subtract the fractions. 9/12 minus 1/12 is 8/12. Then you would need to simplify, right? So when you're simplifying, you're looking to see what the numerator and the denominator can both be divided by. They can both be divided by 4. Okay, so we're going to divide by 4/4. Okay, and then you're going to keep the whole number the way that it is. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And then we're going to add our label on there. And so she has 2 2/3 kilograms of plant food left. Okay, so she's fed her plants, and then this is what she has left. All right, now, the next question says that Meghana wants to feed her onion plants 1 more time and her pepper plants 2 more times. Okay, so the onion plant is 1 more time and the pepper plants is 2 more times. And then it says that she'll use the same amounts of plant food as before. That means the onion plants will use 1 1/3 and the pepper plants will use 3/4. Okay, so you can even write that here. So the onion plant, I think I'll write it in a different color. So the onion plant is 1 1/3, and the pepper plants are 3/4. Now, it says 2 more times. Okay, so keep that in mind. We're gonna have to do a little bit of math there. Hopefully you can see all of this. Let me scoop this up. All right, cool. So we know that she had 2 2/3 kilograms left. Okay, so that's what we're starting with here, 2 2/3 kilograms left. Okay, so we're just bringing that information down. Now, what we need to do is figure out how much plant food she's going to be using this time. Okay, so she wants to feed her onion plants 1 more time, pepper plants 2 more times. We need to figure out how much food she's gonna need to use altogether in order to complete this task. So what we'll need to do is add those. So we have 1 1/3 plus 3/4. Now it said 2 more times, so then we need plus another 3/4. We're gonna add that all together to see how much plant food she's going to need. Common denominator again is 12. So we're gonna multiply this by 4/4, this by 3/3, and this one as well. Okay, so we end up, we're gonna bring that whole number down. So 1 4/12 plus 9/12 plus another 9/12. Okay, if we add these all together, 9 and 9 is 18, plus 4 is 22. So this is, we're gonna bring that whole number over, 1 22/12. Okay, now if we were gonna convert this to a mixed number, right, if we're just converting 22/12, 12 goes into 22 1 time, so that's another 1 whole. So we're gonna take that 1 whole and add it to this one, so that gives us 2. And then we have 10 left over, so the difference here is 10. 2 10/12. Okay, just wanna make sure that you guys can see. I'm gonna stand up here. All right, good. So now we need to compare these. Okay, so this is how much is needed. This is how much she has. Now, in order to compare, to figure out if there's enough, we need a common denominator. We can't compare it like this. So we'll go ahead and convert this 2 2/3 to 12ths, because that works. So that's 2 8/12. Okay, so let's compare. 2 8/12 compared to 2 10/12. This is what she has. This is what she needs. Okay, which is greater? What she needs is greater, right? 2 is equal, but 10/12 is more than 8/12. So what this is showing us is that she needs more food for the plants than she actually has. Okay. So how much plant food will she need? That's this. Okay, so here's one of the answers, and you can check that off, that you've answered that question. It's important when there's multiple questions that you answer everything. Does she have enough left to do so? No. And then it says explain using words, pictures, or numbers. I am okay if you just leave it like this, but it says, does she have enough left to do so? So, no. Okay, so no, she does not have enough plant food. She needs more than she has. Cool. Okay, so that's the first page. Sorry. number 2 says that Daniel harvests his blueberries and cucumbers in his garden. So he picks 1 1/5 kilograms less. This really should be fewer. Sorry, grammar. Fewer blueberries in the morning than in the afternoon. Okay, so if there's fewer in the morning, then that means the morning, so I'm going to do AM and PM. So the morning number should be less than the afternoon. Okay, so it says he picks 2 3/4 kilograms in the morning. Okay, so 2 3/4 kilograms in the morning. He picked 1 1/5 fewer blueberries in the morning, which means the afternoon needs to be more. So the afternoon is 2 3/4, the morning, plus the 1 1/5. Okay, so we've got more in the afternoon. The question is, how many kilograms of blueberries does he pick in the afternoon? So now that we know what equation we need to do, we're going to go ahead and solve. So 2 3/4 plus 1 1/5, and then we're going to find that common denominator, which would be 20. So we're going to multiply by 5 over 5, and here we're going to multiply by 4 over 4, so we can get 20 as a denominator. Okay, we'll keep our whole numbers and then multiply the fractions. So we've got 15/20 there, plus 1 4/20, and add our whole numbers. That's a 3. 15 plus 4 is 19, and keep the denominator when you're adding. You don't add the denominators. So 3 19/20 kilograms of blueberries in the afternoon. So the next question is also related here. Now here's the thing. How do we know that we've done this correctly? The only way we really do know is if we try the equation again. If we double check that we've written our correct numbers here and we're solving it. So double checking doesn't just mean you're checking to see that you answered it. It means you need to find the answer again, like redo the equation. Okay, now the next part says that he also picks cucumber from his garden. He picked 6 7/10, but unfortunately 2.9 kilograms were rotten and had to be thrown away. Bummer. So how many kilograms of cucumber were not rotten? Okay, so basically we need to find the difference here. Difference meaning we need to subtract. This looks a little weird because you've got a fraction and a decimal. But we know that when you read a decimal, 2.9 reads like 2 9/10. And you would write the fraction just like that. So you have 6 7/10. And you're subtracting 2 9/10. Now we have a little bit of a problem here because you can't do 7 subtract 9. So we're going to need to break the 6 wholes, and break it into a fraction. So what we can do is we can take 1 away from the 6. Okay, so that's going to leave us with 5. I guess I'll write it in here. Now 1 whole with a denominator of 10, 1 whole is 10/10. Okay, so this is really 5 10/10. Right? That's the same as 6. And then if you add it with the 7/10, then you end up with 5 17/10. And then once we have that, then we can subtract that 2 9/10, right? Because now we have enough to subtract from. Okay, so we can go back and subtract the whole numbers, find the difference. 5 minus 2 is 3. 17 minus 9 is 8 tenths. Make sure you get a label on there. Make sure you simplify. So anytime you can simplify, you should. Both can be divided by 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So there were okay, so we have our answer here. Okay, we've done that, and it says write an equation that shows how you reached your answer. This is your equation, okay? You don't really need to do anything else. Okay, next. Last question here. Make sure you can see this. Okay, good. So it says, did Daniel end up with more kilograms of cucumber after throwing away the rotten ones? Okay, so that's this. These are the ones that were good, right? They were not rotten. Or did he have more kilograms of blueberries from his picking in the afternoon? So again, we need to compare. We need to compare. Okay, so if we go back in the afternoon, 3 and 19/20. Oops, hopefully you guys can see that. 3 and 19/20. And we're comparing. Okay, now we're going to have to get a common denominator here. So the best thing to do here would be to maybe just convert this to a common denominator of 20. So if we're multiplying this by 2 over 2, then you have 3 and 16/20. So that's what you're comparing here, 3 and 16/20. Okay, this is the afternoon, and this is cucumbers. And we can see that he had more blueberries from the afternoon than he had cucumbers that were still good. Okay, so we've answered this question. How many more kilograms now? So what's the difference here is what it's saying. So in order to find the difference, we're going to do 3 and 19/20, and we're going to subtract 3 and 16/20. Okay, 3 minus 3 is 0, so we don't have any whole numbers. And then 19 minus 16 is 3/20. So we're going to put it all together in our final statement here. So Daniel had 3/20 kilogram more blueberries in the afternoon than, I guess, good cucumbers. I'll just say good. Okay, and then it says, so we've taken care of the how many more. And then it says explain your answer using an equation. That's this. Okay, so show the comparison, label it so we know which is which, and then you've got your equation here. All right, my friends, I hope that helps. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.